to that, and so he got a depredation permit.
Oh
like Nancy
no.
was talking about just a few minutes ago.
Oh.
Right, Ann.
Shoot.
Snick
Yeah.
is a California black bear. She's a local girl as well. You can see that same coloration like Bailey. You can just see her a little bit closer up. She was found near the Beaumont Banning area. She is 13, and black bears are all omnivores. They're opportunistic feeders. So if they're walking along the forest and it's something they typically eat, they're going to look for it. Or, they're going to eat it. 95% of their diet is going to be vegetation. 5% is going to be meat. The meat that they're going to consume is going to be something that's easily accessible. So, they'll go after larger game like deer, elk, moose, antelope, but they may go after the older ones, the sick ones, the injured ones, and they will go after the young of those types of animals as well. They will also eat rodents, small mice, rats, ground squirrels, and they will eat fish as well, trout, salmon, to fatten up. But right now, in the springtime, on a typical daily basis, spring and summer days, they're eating between 3,000 and 6,000 calories of food a day. In the fall time, they go through what's called hyperphagia, and that means excessive eating. Their body knows that in a few months they're going to go into hibernation, and they need enough fat to survive during that time. So usually starting in August, they start to up their caloric intake to 35,000 calories a day. That's like you and me eating 75 cheeseburgers every day for about 3 months. We would put on about 35% of our body fat, but that's going to ensure a black bear survival during hibernation, presuming everything else goes well for them. So, they're just packing the pounds on, eating acorns that are falling off of the trees, and they're going to be eating those salmon and those trout to fatten up as well. Hibernation, starts, anywhere between October, November, and can go to, oh, that's a cute picture, can go to March or April. During hibernation, a few fantastic things happen within a black bear's body. First off is that during hibernation, they really don't go to the bathroom. So usually about a week before they go to sleep, they eat a lot of roughage to form a plug in their body. Waste is still, however, being created inside their body, but they actually recycle their urine and feces inside to maintain their muscle mass. So if you imagine not moving for 4 to 6 months, atrophy would occur within us. It doesn't happen with a black bear. So they don't move for 6 months and they wake up just as strong. They just happen to have lost that 35% of body weight that they added on in the fall time. Another thing that happens that scientists are studying of a black bear's body is that during that time, a black bear's body takes that time to repair and regenerate their own bones. So if they had any problems during the spring or summer months, their body takes the time to heal itself. And if they had any skin cuts or abrasions, they're also going to heal themselves during that time too. And they're doing that to help people who have bone disease or arthritis. I think the best thing that happens is that every January, a new generation of bears are born. Now, bear cubs, most people think that they're big and round and just a big, bear when they're born, but they're not. Black bear cubs are tiny. They only weigh half a pound and they're about the size of a stick of butter. And so the reason that they can be born so small is because bear milk is 25% fat. Our milk's only 4% fat, which is why it takes us a really long time to reach full size as an adult. Black bear cubs, they have to grow quickly because in about 3 to 4 months when springtime rolls around, mom's going to come out of that den and she's expecting them to follow her out because they have to then copy her to, figure out how to be a bear, what to eat, what not to eat, how to climb a tree, where to hibernate, and where to move according to food availability because it's seasonal. And so, they're coming out. If they're healthy, they can be about 10 pounds with mom when they come out of the den. Now, breeding season is just ending right now for the wild black bear population. It starts June and July. Black bears breed with multiple mates, so a litter of cubs can each have different dads. Female bears have a really cool thing that they go through, and that's called delayed implantation, and it's a bear's population control, so to speak. So a female bear will have multiple mates, and she will get bred June, July, but those eggs don't start to develop right away. They will just hang out in her uterus until about November, and November will be the telltale sign on how much fat she's put on to see how many cubs she can have in January. So the fatter she is, the more cubs a mom can have. She can have 5. 5 is very rare for a black bear. Usually 2 is pretty common, or 1. But if you see a mama bear out there with at least 3 cubs, you know that she found a really great food source in the fall time because she had enough fat. If she isn't fat enough to have cubs, her body knows that as well, and those eggs that are fertilized will be reabsorbed into her body, and she won't get pregnant. That way it ensures her survival during hibernation, so then she can breed that next breeding season to potentially, have more bear cubs. If she does get pregnant, she'll keep her cubs with her for 2 years. During those 2 years, she's not breeding with other male bears because male bears pose a potential threat to her cubs. They do not like cubs. They will a lot of times kill them and eat them to get them out of the equation because they see them as a breeding threat. And so mama bears are very fierce and very protective over their young, which is why she's not breeding for those 2 years. Once that next breeding season rolls around, though, before that 2 years, she gives her cubs tough love, get out of my area, because, you know, she's protecting them essentially. Get out, males are coming around. But by that point, they know they've been through 2 cycles of hibernation, where to eat and stuff, that they can then go survive on their own. And so that's the only time you're really going to see bears together in the wild is going to be a mom and her cubs. The rest of the time, it's going to be solitary bears living around an area. Female bears have a much smaller home range. Theirs is about 10 square miles. Male bears have about 6 times that, and that's because, you know, during breeding season, they gotta look for as many girls as they can, and they're gonna be eating more food. During breeding season, male bears will lose another 30% of body weight because during that time, they're completely focused on just finding females. So during the fall time, when they have to really, you know, up their intake, male bears are just on the hunt for food all the time during that time. Same with females. And during hibernation, bears don't have to do it to survive. They just do so because their food source is gone. If it's too mild of a winter like we had here on our mountain, the wild black bears may not have hibernated. The females, however, that were pregnant went up to higher elevations to get away from predators to help her cubs survive a bit more. But if you see bears out and it's, you know, snows on the ground, it's most likely going to be male bears that are out looking for food. They can see in color. If you're wearing blues, purples, or greens, Snig can see those colors on you really well. Anything that's red, yellow, or orange show up different shades of gray to a black bear. Their nose is their best sense that they have. They have a nose that can smell things for up to 20 miles away. So when Nancy was talking about, you know, being in bear country and how to protect the bears, you know, keep everything as bear proof as you can, that's the main reason, because their nose is really good. And black bears don't like to work too hard for their food, which is why those, you know, mammals they go after, they want it to be easy prey. So, you know, even if they come across one trash can with human food, they're going to come back again. So just, you know, really important to keep, you know, wild bears as wild as we possibly can. Told you you're going to learn a lot. Nancy may have said, I don't know if she did, they can live to be 35 in captivity. In the wild, they can have a lifespan up to 25. I believe the oldest recorded wild bear was 37 years old. They're very hardy in terms of getting sick, so, you know, it's going to be the older bears and the younger ones that are more susceptible to getting any diseases or illnesses or anything. So, you have any questions? I see you. You put it like this.
That's great.
Here, you want to come down here, Snig?